The Batalha Monastery, a formerly Dominican convent, was built to commemorate the Battle of Ajubarada, and I know I'm saying that wrong, but it was fought between the Kingdom of Portugal and the Crown of Castile in 1385. That sort of explains why Spain didn't just run over Portugal and take the country. They tried but failed. It took over a century to build, starting in 1386 and ending around 1517, spanning the reign of several kings and 15 architects. In 1755, the earthquake, known as the Lisbon earthquake, these 15th century stained glass windows were badly shaken and weakened. They were later restored by being inserted into wooden frames. The abbey itself was also damaged by the earthquake. However, the monastery suffered much greater damage in 1810 and 1811 when it was sacked and burnt by Napoleonic troops. The monastery was abandoned and left to fall into ruin after the Dominicans were expelled in 1834. This was after the monasteries in Portugal were dissolved. This was by a government decree following the Portuguese Civil War, which aimed to nationalize the land and property held by religious orders, allowing the new constitutional monarchy to redistribute this wealth, particularly to the poorer landowners across the country, essentially aiming to reduce the power of the church and redistribute the land to the general population. It was declared a national monument in 1840 and was gradually restored. Inside, if you catch the right time of day, it's quite the light show. The Portuguese tomb of the unknown soldier is located here. In 1840, King Ferdinand II of Portugal started the restoration program. It took until the early 20th century to complete. Now, it was outside here that I fell down 3 of the steps trying to line up a shot and not paying attention to where I was walking, and I paid for it the rest of the trip. This may seem like an out-of-the-way place, but it's actually got a very nice, walkable town. On the lighter side, next stop, Obidos. Obidos is a walled town that started as a Roman settlement, but the area has been inhabited since the late Paleolithic. After the fall of Rome, the region came under the influence of the Visigoths. Sometime after 713, the Moors established a fortification on the mountain, but there was a Christian community in the Monacharo area of the town. The city was retaken from the Moors during the reign of the first king of Portugal in 1148. That's me riding in the horse and buggy carriage because I had fallen down the steps at the monastery. Again, because I was too busy lining up a shot and missed 3 steps. My ankle swelled up and looked like a royal purple robe. When I was riding through the town, some Asian tourists must have thought there was something going on because they all came outside and started taking pictures of me. The Church of Santa Maria. You may have noticed that in Spain and Portugal, there are a lot of churches and cathedrals and basilicas named after the Virgin Mary, Mother of Jesus. This church dates back to the Visigoth period, having been converted into a mosque during the Muslim period and then reconverted to Christianity after 1148. It's amazing to see some of the artwork in these out-of-the-way places. There's smaller chapels and churches that later on we find were paintings from the masters. This is a nice little town to visit, and although you can walk the wall around the city, I was not able to. Obidos is also known for its abundance of flowers due to a combination of factors, including its Mediterranean climate, the local tradition of floral decoration, and the town's focus on tourism, which encourages residents to maintain beautiful flowers displayed throughout the year, particularly around the historic medieval walls and the charming little streets, just enhancing the picturesque quality of the village. The Roman-style archways aqueduct was constructed in the 16th century to transport water to the town. The project was funded by the Queen of Portugal, Queen Catherine, and she sold some of her lands that surround Obidos to pay for the construction. Something a bit different, instead of just raising taxes to pay for a public project, but actually selling her own property. I'd like to see somebody do that today. Well, this was the last trip on our little AAA tour of Spain and Portugal.